Hello and welcome to this week's look at action and stunts on film and television. How are you? Welcome. You deserve a little break, and you have arrived at an auspicious moment because this week we celebrate the wonderful world of rousing stuff, isn't it? Henry Mancini giving it the beans for the wonderful score to Condorman, which back in 1981 was a huge roller coaster of fun. I'd been to, that was probably my first year of really enjoying going to the cinema. Dad would take me quite often, and it was, For Your Eyes Only, 1981, first Bond. And Condorman, I remember vividly. I also remember having the little plastic orange drink thing, in the square see-through plasticky thing. You had to put the straw through the top of the thing. I remember those. Probably why I never wanted to have them again. They're absolutely vile, as if memory serves. Condorman was just huge fun. And as a child, and pretty much right the way through my adult life, I've never had a reason to dislike it. I interviewed, many moons ago, for another podcast, I interviewed Colin SKEAPING, referring to the movie as he was the physical stunt coordinator. REMY, JULIENNE, of course, responsible for a great deal of the vehicular action. Colin said he enjoyed it enormously. We'll find out more about it as this video goes on. But I never had a reason to doubt it. Over the last 6 months or so, there is still a real love for the film. I think that is fair to say. But I didn't know nor care, if I'm perfectly honest about the whole thing, about all the stuff that was going on in the background. This is a Walt Disney movie. This is the very first Walt Disney hero picture, right? Now, commonplace. Back then, never touched it before, and Michael Crawford became the lead character, Woody, who is the comic book guy. He writes the comic books, he writes Condorman, and his policy is that if it can't be done in reality, then there's no point putting it into the comic book. Not a bad lesson in life. If you can't do it for real, why do it? So, his idea is to, test out a lot of these bits and pieces. And Michael Crawford, I don't know how widely known Michael Crawford's back catalogue is in respect to the viewing world, but if you are from the UK, you will remember him, of course, as Frank Spencer, and some others do have him. Avum, some others do Avum. Great deal of knockabout stuff, huge amount of stunt action, which he was responsible for a great deal of that. Working with Havoc, working with Derek Ware, and his team had to be in the thick of it. There are elements of that here. His lovely comedic timing, moments where he's doing physical action, he does it terribly well. And had been a big film star for many years. He was in Hello, Dolly, for instance. Big. Who directed that? Gene Kelly? Gene Kelly directed that with Barbra Streisand. Very expensive picture, and he was well thought of. What else was he in? He was in the John Lennon, was it How I Won the War? He was in that. He was in Wrong Box. Is he in Wrong Box? He's in one of these movies of that nature, right? Movies with cult followings. In the States, he's probably better known for musical theatre. And of course, when Phantom of the Opera took over and became the biggest thing since sliced bread in 86, I want to say 85, 86, he was the original Phantom on the stage. And they went, he can sing, you know. I dare say he could sing before, but he could sing. He'd done Barnum. He'd done lots of great shows in connection with that, all that sort of stuff. So, when I'm reading all these bits and pieces about this movie's appalling and it's terrible and it's this and it's that, you have to take a number of things into consideration. First, it's 1981. They are really learning how to do a comic book caper movie. And it doesn't know what it is. It is, if you look at it now, it doesn't know what it is. It doesn't know whether it's a superhero picture. It doesn't know whether it's a romantic comedy. It doesn't know whether it's an action adventure. It really doesn't know what it is. And I seem to remember that from an advertising perspective, they build it as all of those things. The one thing that grates on me a bit now, and I've watched over the last 6 months, probably watched it 3 times. And I like Michael Crawford. I've always liked Michael Crawford. I will not hear anything against Michael Crawford. He is a top bloke. But this accent he's using in this picture is unbearable. I don't know why anybody didn't go, Michael, could I just maybe tone it a touch? Where is this geographically, the accent you're using? Could it be popped a bit more west or south even? It's that's my only concern as far as his performance is concerned. Everybody else falls into spot left, right and centre. It's a nice little supporting cast. It's funny, it's silly, it's bonkers. And the action on it, there's a couple of sensational moments, which I will try and explain a bit further to you now as we watch the following. Right, here it is. Condorman. Now, the flying sequences, as we mentioned, so there's many safety issues concerned here, but the fact that the actual flying is Colin Skeaping doubling for Michael Crawford, and he's on the end of a crane. There's a crane arm swinging him about with piano wire. That's the only wire option he's got. And that really, and there's no safety backup from this, so that is him flying free with this wire. And on a personal level, I think that's quite concerning. I would be concerned by that, the fact that you are, your life is in the hands of some crane operator and a very, very thin piece of cable. Not good enough, I don't think. Nowadays, very different. And of course, there's the moment where he has to then plunge into the Seine. Nasty place, the Seine. That's a helicopter shot, by the way. So he's hanging underneath a helicopter in that sequence. There's a fight here, which is a nice little bit of slapstick, really, and from a timing perspective. So it's the old routine. He's got the case as a prop. Bang! Throws it up, spins round, throws it back, gets the guy again. Then watch what he does with his finger. He just lets go, which opens the case, allowing the contents to drop. He then bows down, and your man dives over the top. And he's very physical, so he gets chucked across the room and again knocks the 2 guys out. Not identified, these stunt people, by the way. God knows I've tried if they are stunt people, but they're not being identified at all. And then the coffee shot at the end. Steam, bang, got him. The driving sequence, well, that's a little simpler because you've got REMY Julien behind the wheel doing that thing he does, which is creating whatever's on the page and then making it into something extra special. Very interesting vehicle that they're using there. The drivers in this instance, Claude Carlet, Dominique Julien, Michel Julien, Jean-Claude Laguenet, and Raymond Teroul, who is one of the drivers. They're all the drivers of the Porsches. I think Remy stepped in and did a bit of work with the Condorman car. It's a very, very Ooh, it resembles a great deal of, well, a Bond movie, really. It's got that feel, don't you think? I think so. Have a look at this.
Can you swim?
Well, that's where I thought it came from. It looks very much like that, doesn't it? It's a fabulous sequence, it really is. And then, of course, it bows out again into the boat sequence, where you've got Didier Brühl, who is responsible for the action on this particular sequence. But there's an awful lot going on. These powerboats are magnificent, but the wake situation was the issue. There was a great deal of crisscrossing around, and very obviously, you know, the situation with this was that there was going to be a considerable amount of water knocking about. Look at the speed that they're travelling at. And then this particular, the yellow boat, the Condorman boat, is almost like a racing, high-powered racing boat. The others are top-quality speedboats. That's a racing boat, and was hitting some of that water at great speed, many, many knots. But as you can see, the smoke there, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's fire there as well. It's choppy too. It's not a mill pond, you know, so they've got all of this to take into consideration, but they have a limit. They can't be out there for a great deal of time. Interesting moment here. We've discussed it before about leaving a boat when it's moving. This boat is shifting, and now, diving from the boat, you've got to pitch your spot and make absolutely certain where you're going, because when you hit there, it's going to be like a ton of bricks, and you need to be able to land appropriately. But it's great fun, and if you haven't seen the movie, I absolutely advise it. There you go. Condorman. It's been done, dusted. We can pop it away on the shelf of the viewed shelf. I feel as though I've been quite late to this, because when I look along with various other podcasts and various other YouTube channels, they all appear to have done Condorman a long time ago. But it's important, I think, to remember that there's so many movies out there and so little time. We're here for a good time, not a long time. Remember that. So, yes, that's Condorman. And the REMY Julienne stuff is spectacular. You know, that pursuit driving and precision driving. And it's a very exciting sequence, and I like a lot of that. So that's terrific, and I hope you've enjoyed that. And that score. Oh, my God, that soundtrack. It's... Whenever I hear a piece of music, it has to do a number of things for me to like it. Firstly, I need a hook. I need a hook fairly quickly. And you get one with this. Bam, 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 bam. It just keeps doing that over and over again. Henry Mancini I'm a fan of anyway. I was always a big fan of the Pink Panther scores, and various other pictures that he's been involved in. Yes, some of the classics, the Breakfast at Tiffany's and stuff like that. Hatari's a very good one. But this is, I don't know, there's something about this which I like enormously. Also, the beautiful thing about a Mancini score is, technically speaking, you can take elements of it and remove it and pop it and drop it down into another movie. There are moments in this score which are from Santa Claus the movie, which he also scored. Which I think is lovely. There's a couple of little bits and pieces along the way, but he just keeps doing it. So the things that I like in a film, a film score, there needs to be that hook that I can get into. It doesn't necessarily mean a film score. It can be a piece of music generally. I need to know it after the first chorus. If it's a song, if I hear it, and if I think it's good, it's because I think I know it after the first chorus. I normally give a song about 30, 45 seconds, and I'll go, it hasn't done anything to me, and I have to move on. But, you know, you know when it's good. And from a song perspective, if there is a key change, I'm all yours. It does something to me emotionally. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. I've never had it looked at professionally. But if I hear a song and there's a key change going on, and it happens at the right time and the right part of the song, well, I'm a blubbering wreck. I'll explain that to you. So anybody who does find me happen to be in the same place that I am, and there's a song on, and I suddenly burst into tears, it's affected me somewhere here. Community singing and all that sort of stuff. I get to a certain age, and then it happens. It happens regardless. But yes, so that's the key. And Henry Mancini's score, Hank's score, just is magnificent. I absolutely love it from start to finish. And again, from the film point of view, it's taken a great deal from Bond, as we looked at there. The boat off the end of it's clearly The Spy Who Loved Me. So they're throwing bits and pieces at this and going, we take a bit from that, we take a bit from this. You watch anybody, any good performance. Meryl Streep is a good example off the top of my head, and she will say herself, if you see me do something in a movie that's good, chances are I've taken it from that one over there, and I've taken it from that performance over there, and I've taken a bit of him and a bit of her, and I'm doing it myself. So if it's good, it's because somebody else has taken it already, and that's another reason why I quite like this movie enormously. That is it. That concludes our seminar for today. I hope you have enjoyed it. Join me again next week for more of the same, and until then, it's bye for now.